This is the Relevant Podcast.
It's episode 1183, and it's the Relevant Podcast here in Orlando. I'm your host, Cameron Strang, and joining me from Loverland, Virginia, it's Jesse Carey.
Hello, hello.
From Nashville, our managing editor, downtown Emily Brown.
Hey, y'all.
In LA, you know from Social Club Misfits, it's Marty.
What's going on, guys?
Okay, so this is the Tuesday show. We have a great show coming up. Colony House is our guest. If you don't know, if you're not, in the loop, Colony House this week is celebrating the 10-year anniversary of their debut album, and they released the reissued with 9 new tracks literally yesterday. So they are on the show today to talk about that. That's pretty cool. At the end of the show, we have Summer Mythbusters. It's a game that we haven't done before, so stay tuned for that. We have slices coming up. But this is the Tuesday show. We're recording on Monday. We can just end it just wondering how you guys' weekend was. Marty, did anything happen to you?
Shout out to CrowdStrike, owned by BlackRock. I'm just kidding. But shout out to CrowdStrike. I woke up on Friday, 3 a.m, ready to get excited to jump on a flight. It was headed to a festival that was literally, I was going to be performing across from the Mount Rushmore. Like, it was a beautiful show.
Wow.
And we were very excited. And my flight got canceled, and I tried to get another flight. It got canceled. Apparently the majority of the bands on this festival got canceled. So Fern had to perform by himself. The cool thing about the festival was that they've never had hip hop. So, 15,000 people, and there was only 2 bands that were there to perform. So it was kind of a cool dynamic, but I missed it. But the shocker is that Fern, the other guy in Social Club Misfits, he can't leave till Wednesday. So he's stuck in
South
Dakotas, South Dakota until Wednesday. He cannot get out, which makes me laugh because I was noticing every airline was affected except for Spirit and Frontier, the 2 ones that I would never fly on.
No, and Southwest too.
Yeah, Southwest wasn't affected. Yeah. So Southwest doesn't even go to South Dakota, like, of all things. Right. It was just a nightmare. So I had to be home.
Southwest booking computer is basically like a 1989 Game Boy Advance. That's how they do all their bookings. So that's why they weren't affected.
Yeah. So I ended up making no money this weekend, but shout out to the Life Fest, and Fern did really good, I heard. So
I feel like the Dakotas have to be like the worst states to be stranded in. No offense to the Dakotas.
I feel like you're off the grid a little. And to Cameron's
it's definitely
point,
off the grid.
To Cameron's point, not much is affected out of there because most of their stuff is organized by the Dewey Decimal System. Yeah. They just have big card catalogs.
The internet there is a floppy disk that they take from house to house. You can put it in your computer. Download.
Everything's yellow, like a little bit. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like vintage yellow. Everything you look at, it's like, and then like they still have like old stores like Eckerd's. They still have Eckerd's there. I'm dead serious. Like my road manager lives there, and he owns a really great sneaker store called Preaches, and they're the only streetwear store in the entire state, and they have everything you could think of, but it's only one store in the middle of the state, and literally everything is, like, the smells are still there. The diners they still have like a Pizza Hut buffet. You know what I'm getting at here.
In fairness, though, we're making fun as the coastal elites and Emily in the big city of Nashville,
big city girl.
But we're making fun of the Dakotas as if we're just balling them up with like a bunch of states that we rarely visit, not because they aren't delightful, but because in our mind is like basically the setting for Napoleon Dynamite. Right. Like, that's how most people picture those. Even though when you go, you're like, dude, this place has it figured out. This is the real.
It's Fargo.
It's awesome. Now, I do have a question though about Fern's predicament. Why didn't he just rent a car and drive? Like, you're talking like he's stranded there for a week. Why didn't he just?
So he's in Miami. I think that's like he's not a driver. He won't drive. He got arrested driving a car with cocaine bricks in the back of his car. That's why he went to jail. Yeah. And ever since then, like, we've traveled the nation. He's like, I don't want to drive. Like, he has PTSD. He won't drive anymore. So I usually am the guy who drives, and he won't drive 36 hours.
When was he supposed to fly out?
Saturday.
And he's staying until Wednesday.
Yeah. His whole family, though, is in Buffalo. So he's kind of like, hey, I guess I'm just going to be here for a whole week while my family's in Buffalo for the summer.
Cameron, if you were in that situation, because you've driven considerable distances. Yeah.
I would planes, trays, and automobiles. I would Home Alone to this thing. I would jump on the back of a van with a polka band.
Ooh, I would take a train. That would be fun.
That's actually Home Alone 1.
What was the name of that band, by the way, in Home Alone?
Polka, polka, polka. No, that was the hit. Polka,
That's
polka.
a big hit.
Smash hit. Yeah. We're a viral sensation.
Polka, polka,
Yeah.
polka.
Like she was supposed to go, oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
He actually improv'd all that. I love R.I.P. John Candy.
The greatest part of that improv scene, I'm glad you mentioned that, Marty, and it was almost too dark for them to keep it in, but I heard they only had him for like a couple hours for I think it was John Hughes who wrote the script, and it was like a personal favor of John Hughes for John Candy to show, because at the time John Candy was like
huge.
He was basically like that era's like Will Ferrell, right? Like he would show up occasionally and things, but he was like the biggest comedy star. And they only got him for a couple hours, and they just let him cook. And it was almost because I watched Chris. I'm sorry for this tangent, but I rewatched Home Alone at Christmas time, and the darkest moment in that scene, and mind you, this is a film about child neglect. This is a film where a 9-year-old injures 2 adult men to the point
a sadistic 9-year-old
bricks to the face,
Yeah, basically,
it stopped being self-defense and it started being he's the protagonist or
malice. This I've heard it described straight up malice. He's basically Jigsaw in the Saw movies as like an 8-year-old,
So this is a prequel film to Saw, yes.
Origin story.
And John Candy, knowing this is a PG movie about it, and in his mind, it's about a mother who wants to make it home for her son on Christmas morning.
Right.
And John Hughes just says, all right, just set the table, you're driving in the back of the U-Haul across the country. Your job in the scene is just to make her feel better, like she's not a terrible mother. And he goes off on a story about leaving his 9-year-old son in the back of a mortician's office with a dead body all day with the body, just all day. And it was like, look, man, we got John Candy. We're either keeping it or we're not. It gets dark, but that's what he brought. And I still appreciate that to this day.
And it's a true story about his son. Yeah. So, which makes it even worse.
Yeah.
Emily, speaking of movies, rewatching old movies and weekend plans, does that spark any segue to what you did this weekend?
It did. I had a very Twister themed weekend. I watched the original on Saturday, which I swore I had seen before, but I actually don't think I had, because there were certain scenes that it was like, I feel like I would remember this. And specifically, I'm talking about when a house gets tipped over and then they drive through it and they drive. It's weird because I think I went back and watched it because they drive through the house, but they drive up the stairs, but then they come out the window downstairs. So I needed to kind of figure out the layout of the house. But Twisters, the original, was great. And then I saw the new one on Saturday. Fantastic. Had a great time. I am a self-professed, very big Glenn Powell fan, so I always know I was going to have a good time.
Yes, I know you're a big Glenn Powell fan because you completely messed up my X algorithm on Sunday.
You're welcome.
Trying to read political news. And all of a sudden I see a rare Emily Brown tweet and I'm like, oh, let me see what she's saying about the situation. And she was quote tweeting somebody else who was saying that Glenn Powell is the new Brad Pitt. And she's like, excuse me, he's the new Matthew McConaughey. And she was arguing, and I paused long enough to read her tweet that then X thought I was deeply interested in how hot Glenn Powell is. And so for the next 30 minutes, I'm trying to read about what's going on in politics. And all I'm seeing is Glenn Powell thirst trap tweets from people who saw. So thanks a lot.
You're welcome. I have to share the Glenergy with everyone. Okay.
Look,
Jesse has something to say.
I do.
Here's the thing.
I do. I actually have a take. On this Glenn Powell situation.
It's a situation for real.
Yeah, his looks are undeniable. I'm not debating.
But it's more than just his looks. It's his charm, his effortless charisma, his humor.
He's also a good actor.
I mean, I've only seen him in Top Gun and
stuff you didn't even know. Yeah, like
Kids
he was
3.
in Batman.
He was in Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that.
Either way, this isn't criticizing Glenn Powell. This is just an observation about, and I heard some other critics talk about this, and I agree with them. Like, and Twisters it's a huge movie, so who am I to make a judgment? But the major thing that like I think is the difference between this one and the new one, the people in the new one are just too good looking. Like, they're not storm chasing.
So much, Jesse. I appreciate you.
They look like models out there.
They're not ragtag like the first one.
It was like Philip Seymour Hoffman, okay? Sam Neill.
Yes.
Like
Okay. Yeah, but 1990s Helen Hunt. I had a huge crush on Helen Hunt and Twister. I mean,
also, I'll say Bill Paxton looked great.
Yeah, but he didn't look Titanic great. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't Titanic great with the necklace and like an open shirt.
They look like if you were rolling through Oklahoma, okay, on a stormy day.
Yeah, pretty girl and a bunch of weirdo dudes.
Glenn Powell is from Texas.
Yeah.
They kind of fit in together, though, with this ragtag company. And then, like, you know, he's got the girlfriend. Bill Paxton's got the girlfriend that he's about to marry, and she's like the city girl who's like in a business suit. Like, she was being terrorized.
Like, they were literally bringing her along. Like, he was trying to kill her. I think that was
I'm just saying. He's far too handsome for this film. Like, give me
in real life,
guy.
A guy who's obsessed with weather would not look like Glenn Powell.
No, he would have chosen a different.
He's going to look more like Philip Seymour Hoffman from the first film.
Right.
And they nailed that casting.
He's a keyboard warrior in real life.
Yes,
yeah, that's not Glenn Powell.
He's got a flannel around his waist. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's got a flannel around his waist. His things happening that. It just makes sense.
He spends his non-tornado chasing time heavily on Reddit. That's who
he eats
is
a lot of burritos because he has to drive and just grab and go. He's just chewing it away.
Yeah.
And that's, I'm not saying he's not comparable to Matthew McConaughey or Brad Pitt, but Matthew McConaughey or Brad Pitt were not in the original Twister. Okay. It was, they took sort of like the Office approach where they hired not like unattractive people, but people who, it's not inconceivable that they all work in an office.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It actually, they did have a really great cast in the first one. Cause like, what's his name? He plays the oldest brother in Succession. And he was
yes.
What is his name? And he played Cameron in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah. Again, a very average looking, like someone who has a distinctive look, but he's not someone who's like, oh, he just walked out of a
Cameron Fry. He literally has a name of Cameron who's here. Yeah. His name is Cameron. And he didn't remember it.
Sorry.
I personally have boycotted that actor my entire life. In fourth grade, when Ferris Bueller's Day Off came up, I didn't see it, but all the kids in school would sing some song about Cameron was in Egypt or something to me, and it was so annoying. I was like, I'll never see that movie. I still haven't seen that movie. So,
I want you to know, people asked me if my middle name was Rose after The Exorcism of Emily Rose came out when I was in middle school.
Wow.
And that one was a dark one.
And you're boycotting
me,
exorcisms because of that.
I do for multiple reasons.
But here's the thing about Cameron Fry. If you were to see that guy, it's like, oh, he's really into meteorology. You'd be like, oh, that checks out.
That checks out.
I totally believe that. I totally believe
that. Glenn Powell's in the gym too much to be paying attention to the weather map.
It is not Glenn Powell's fault that he's hot, okay? Like, you don't blame him for that.
Look, Glenn Powell,
his fault.
Great fictional fighter pilot. I buy it, okay? I get it. He's the fighter pilot
who's a spy kid. He's smart. He's adventurous. I get it.
He's also doing Backdraft. He's remaking every movie that we loved. He remade Top Gun.
I can buy him as Backdraft because firemen are athletic.
He's the main guy in Backdraft. Yeah. He's Kurt Russell.
I can buy that.
It just doesn't work for Twister. I'm sorry.
I think Marty's main. Marty, you made a point that to me defines this. The people who sit in vans chasing storms eat a lot of burritos. They're sitting down a lot. They're in the car a lot. They don't look like Glenn Powell.
Extra pillows under them, you know.
Okay, but they do have to be in a little bit of shape because they're running away from the tornadoes.
They're not running. They're not running in real life.
They're driving away.
They're driving.
No, but in the movie they outrun a lot of tornadoes, and I'm like, okay, let's check the science on this one. There's a lot of things that happen in the movie that I'm like, I need a scientist to like fact check everything.
To verify. Look, there we go. Perfect. Alan Ruck, Philip Seymour Hoffman, the guy in the back who looks like he could be Steve Buscemi's son.
I think he's in Always Sunny.
I just pulled up a picture for the crew to see the original Twister cast, and I think it makes my point fairly well.
Yeah.
Glenn Powell ain't hanging with those bros.
Nope.
Sorry.
Yeah.
He has nothing in common
Somehow
with those
Angelina Jolie is chasing a tornado. Okay, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
She's 70
Interesting.
pounds. Sure.
Emily, does Twisters get your seal of approval other than his hotness?
100%.
It was a fun
It
movie.
was a very good movie.
do want to see it.
The graphics were much better this time around than 1996 because there was like in the original one they have like the tornado at different times like explodes and it's like this was bad CGI. Like it was 90s CGI.
Cow. Remember the cow was
I
very.
remember the
visual.
cow, and I remember at some point somebody's holding on to like a pipe and like their
Yes, with
body-
a strap, right? A strap around them.
Yeah,
Right.
that's how they survived
invented
the
that.
biggest tornado of all time.
They're doing this the whole time and holding the strap.
Anyway, all right. Stay tuned. Up next, it's Slices. You're listening to Wallows. The song is Bad Remake, which is not about Twisters, right?
Thank you.
There you go. Well, today's show is brought to you in part by Wired to Fish Coffee. So many companies are not rooted in Christian principles nowadays. However, they do exist. Meet Wired to Fish Coffee. Founded by Christian anglers who are crazy about the love of Jesus for his people, Wired to Fish Coffee gives back 25% of their net profits to faith-based programs and clean water initiatives. Wired to Fish Coffee also offers a smooth, robust taste rivaling any coffee shop brew. Give Wired to Fish Coffee a try today and join a community of people making a positive impact. Use code WeCare at wired2fishcoffee.com at checkout and get an additional bag for free. You can make a difference. Again, that's wired2fishcoffee.com. All right, it's time for
Slices.
What do you have, Jesse?
All right. I have a really interesting story from one of America's great institutions of journalism with this headline. Is Riz the secret to getting ahead at work? This is from the Wall Street Journal. The Wall Street Journal.
I literally almost said this to the staff chat this morning and said, Emily, your secret is out because she just recently got a pretty good advancement. So there you go. I was like, because of her Riz, I was like, Emily, your secret.
The Rizzler.
Yeah, that's really funny.
Well, fortunately, the subtitle will bring hope to people who aren't as naturally charismatic as Emily. Whether you call it charisma, charm, or magnetism, some people seems like naturals. Good news, it can be learned. There's a whole story in the Wall Street Journal basically about how a lot of people who get ahead at work isn't just because they are very good at their job. It's because they have a natural charisma. And listen, I think we've all been in the workplace long enough to know that it is true. Like some people who are just like, they might not be the most productive, but if you kind of like being around them, those are the ones that seem to
likable factors. Overwhelm work.
Listen, I grew up around in and around a used car dealership. I can tell you.
Wait, hold on. You grew up in and around?
My dad owned a car delership, and I can tell you the secret to sales is not the people who's taken the most sales classes. It is the Riz factor. But the story, I wanted to read a couple lines that I really liked from the story, because I feel like it must. I don't know how it could possibly be a slow news day in the Wall Street Journal newsroom. To our point that we made a few minutes ago, it is the fastest news day every day ever. There is no slow day.
The president, the nominee just got shot at. There was a whole convention. The other presidential candidate dropped out. The president. Let's talk about Riz.
We have a Russian nuclear sub that was seen off the coast of Florida, and nobody cared. That's how fast it is.
Wars going on. Yeah.
But
Glenn Powell is in Twister. I mean, all his stuff is in the news.
Thank you.
Billy Mays died, And
this is a fold real estate about Riz in the workplace.
Well, they wanted to share, spill a little ink on this, which if they're going to do it, I'm going to read it. Okay. So they went ahead and interviewed a communications trainer and author of a book about charismatic communication. That's how they identify her. I didn't catch what the name of this book is, but anyway, she suggests for her her introverted clients, here's some nonverbal cues that can make you seem like you have workplace riz. Okay. A slow triple nod shows people you're listening. I like this one. I like that it's not a double nod. It's 1, 2, 3. I like that there are someone's reading the Wall Street Journal like, oh, that's why. I was doing the double nod for all these years.
I did the octanod. I was doing 8 nods, and that's too much. Too much nod.
No one told me. I like this one. I like this one, especially for Zoom. Placing your hands in the steeple position, together and facing up, denotes you're calm and present. Okay. I like the steeple position.
Not the praying hands position.
So, but I like that the fact that, again, there are people that are going to read this and practice and be in the Zoom. And then they hear that
steeple isn't the hands like prayer. It's the
I was
two
thinking
fingers.
praying hands.
Yeah.
Praying hands.
Yeah.
Praying hands seems like something you just got tough news. We just lost the big one. And that's where you're like,
Also, this is shocking advice because both of the things you've just said, I do not consider to be like characteristics of charismatic people. You know what I mean? Like,
well, although Jim in the office does the steeple fingers quite a bit. Yeah. He's like, he leans back in the chair, but he's like making fun of you. Yeah, he does it to make fun of you. Yeah.
Well, what if you don't know? What if everyone logs onto the Zoom and Ball's sitting on yet, and it's time for a little banter, a little chit chat, but it's not your style. Don't worry. We've got some answers for you. Here's one.
Nervous.
Try coming up with one question you're known for. Not a canned, hokey icebreaker, but something casual and simple that reflects actual interest. One of her clients, a bookish executive struggling with uncomfortable, halting starts to his meetings, began by kicking things off by asking, "Reading anything good?" Who is reading? How long is the Wall Street? Did they just have did like a full page ad just fall through at the last minute and they're like, plug in that Riz story that asked people to,
ChatGPT wrote this. Literally, this sounds like a ChatGPT list of advice.
Wait, that's such a funny thing because I know what Cameron's question is when he wants to ask people. And it's always, what's your relationship like with your father?
I don't do that at staff meeting, but when I'm in a situation where there's forced small talk, I
remember you telling us that. Yeah.
What answer are you looking there for? Because I feel like the optimal, if you're looking for a real high performer, someone who, you're probably not going to want to hang out with, but someone who, is blood feud rivalry. Why do you ask? Like that is the ultimate answer for, someone who is, it's like, it's Darth Vader and Jedi.
Okay. Then tell me more. And I'm fascinated. And now I get to know you and your backstory, that's what I want. Is if you ask, I either ask, tell me about the street you grew up on, or how's your relationship with your dad? Either of those, you're getting into it. Like the person's going to open up, tell you a huge aspect of their past, their story with the formative memories. And now you know them at a deeper level.
And more interesting than what book are you reading?
And then I sit back and I do steeple fingers and I listen. And
I have two questions too. Okay. What religion are you? And then what's your political affiliation? Those are always the people talking.
People love to chat about that.
Heated conversation. It gets wild. It gets
just
heated.
Between me and you. I want to hear the most controversial political opinion you've ever entertained. Let's go.
Ever entertained.
You've never spoken out loud until this moment.
Okay. All right.
What's something that if you tweeted it would get you canceled, but you really think it's true? Tell me verbally.
What's your most racist take? Please
tell
me
this piece of paper. I do like, because we're all kind of joking, for people who are listening, not watching. Around the board, around the cues, everyone's kind of taking turns doing the steeple fingers.
The triple nod and the steeple fingers.
I'm not going to lie. I was clowning this article. I feel listened to and heard.
Do you feel rizzed up?
I do. I feel like
Jesse the Rizzler.
And we also learned that your relationship with your dad centered around you having to spend countless hours of your childhood at a used car delership.
You were setting us up for like a TV show or something.
That makes so much sense.
I work in the detail shop, and those guys are real ones. I'll tell you. Let me tell you this. You find some real cool stuff detailing cars. That's all I'm going to say. When you're 14, 15 years old. I like it.
All right. What do you have, Emily?
Okay, let me ask y'all this. Let's pretend you're out in space, which I know, Jesse, it would be like your last place on Earth, or last place in the universe,
Literally
I guess, but
on Earth. Yeah.
pretend you're out in space, okay? And you come across an alien, and they can only communicate through song or music. What song are you playing for an alien?
Wait. You're encountering the alien, and to greet them, you play a song.
Yeah, what song are you playing?
Definitely going to be Seal Kissed by a Rose. Feel like they can relate to the medieval sound as well. I don't know.
Sure,
Different
sure.
sounds.
Lionel Richie's Hello.
That's
Okay.
a good one. Not
Jesse,
like
you got any
us.
songs?
Start them off calm.
What'd you say?
Not like us.
Okay,
I don't know.
I like the hip hop route because that's actually where this story is going. So last week, NASA played a Missy Elliott song through their Deep Space Network.
What? Please tell me it's Get Your Freak On. Please tell me it.
No, it's The Rain, Super Duper Fly.
Oh.
Another great choice. So they played the song From Earth to Venus. They transmitted it via their Deep Space Network.
Who's from Venus? Men or women? I don't remember.
Men are from
Men are
Mars,
Mars,
right?
yeah.
Women are from Venus.
So they're
They
playing
go to-
a Missy Elliott song to a planet full of women.
Female
maybe-
aliens. Yes.
Okay.
Got it.
Yeah.
They're really running out of ideas to contact Venus then.
They
If
really
that's
are.
the best they could do.
They really, because I was looking at why they did this. They kind of just
Yes.
did it for fun, just because they can, which I think is really funny. There's no like scientific reason behind it. They've done this before. They played the Beatles Across the Universe back in 2008.
So that's the only other time they've projected a song out into outer space.
Yes.
That makes sense. Across
The
the
NASA
universe.
playlist is only 2 songs right now on Spotify.
That's crazy that they went from Across the Universe to Missy Elliott,
To Missy Elliott.
You skipped over a lot of great singers to do this.
Yeah.
including Lionel Richie's Hello, which would have made
Yeah.
sense.
Anything with a sweet
Yeah.
voice. Instead, you chose maybe. I'm wondering if it's like the frequency or something. I don't know.
Yeah. What was the reasoning?
Truly just because, well, Missy Elliott's on a tour right now. So I think it was part of it was to promote her own tour.
Wow.
Like she maybe
She
figured
had
out a deal with
NASA
NASA.
to promote.
NASA gets nothing from this. Although I do think it's really funny because best case scenario, we find out aliens exist because they come out as Missy Elliott fans.
Yeah.
And they like come to Earth and are like, let's hear more of Missy Elliott.
They're more
And I
confused when they come to Earth. Like, what?
I mean, she did have like outer space type stuff in that music video, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly. She was like it was in that Puff Daddy era where they were like floating around in their videos. Yeah.
Imagine playing DJ Khaled and then we get attacked.
Yeah. They're like,
We must eliminate this species. Yeah.
That's the thing, because it's like best case scenario, the aliens come to Earth and they're fans of Missy Elliott. Worst case scenario, they come to Earth because they hate Missy Elliott.
exactly.
And then it's like,
they're trying to turn off the
I will say
broadcast.
she has like a
Yeah.
pretty universal approval rating musically. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like no one. I feel like
universal approval. Nice.
Yeah,
Well,
like
yeah, exactly.
well, they're testing
I feel-
that theory right now, actually.
Yeah, I'd be comfortable with her representing humanity. Yeah, you know, there are some artists, to your point, like DJ Khaled, where it's like, look, why is their laser beams firing up right now? Why is it seem
why
like
did they
they're
take out
warming
North
up that
Korea?
big
I
weapon?
don't know why they took out Antarctica for no reason.
the warning
So
shot?
they take out
Warning
Florida
shot.
for DJ Khaled.
We the best. Something explodes in China. What happened to them?
Just be glad that all the stupid pop country stuff isn't being broadcast, or else Nashville will be obliterated.
Well, don't say that because I live
Texas
in
is
Nashville.
gone.
All right. What do you have, Marty?
What's going on, guys? So, great article this week from Cracked, which talks about
Wait.
6.
Wait, Cracked, like the old like Mad magazine?
Yes, exactly
Cracked
like that.
magazine?
Yes,
They
Okay.
were
doing
purchased by Vanity Fair's parent company, and now they do articles on media. So that's exciting. So this article is about 6 sitcoms that started off great to only fall off a cliff completely. But my favorite thing, I was thinking about it as I was reading the article, what shows that you guys have maybe watched that just had a really terrible ending? Like a lot of people don't like Seinfeld. They thought that was a bad ending, or Sopranos, where it just goes straight to black. One of mine was, I don't know why I got into this show recently, from 2005, $1 Million Listing Los Angeles. I don't know why. But as you watch the evolution of these people every season, they start to get more. They started out looking normal. By the end of the 9th season, they're looking like Matt Gaetz. You know what I'm saying? Like their eyebrows are just very, very thin. There's a lot of Botox involved. You got to see it, Cam. I'm telling you.
I watched every episode. Who are you talking to?
$1 Million Listing Los Angeles.
Dude, there are 3 episodes into the new season. I'm
Madison, Josh, right? And those original
Madison's hasn't been on the show in 10 years.
I know. That's what my point is. So you start to see the first episode, and then you see them start to like just get a little bit more different looking throughout
They're in LA. They're dealing with billionaires. What do you want from them? They have a lavish lifestyle.
It gets gnarly. Let me just tell the fans right now. It gets gnarly. So here's six. I'm gonna go off 3 of them and see what you guys think. Right. Did you guys see the ending of How I Met Your Mother? Were you guys ever into that?
Oh yeah, definitely. I was on
at the end. I mean, here's spoiler alert, but at the end, the mother's dead the whole time. And that was, everyone got really upset. They're like, wow, he just got back with Robin at the end and the mother was dead the whole entire time.
Did the writers ever explain why they wanted to end it like that?
Because, like, why is he telling this story about the mom? The kids are getting older. They wanted to know about their mom.
Yeah. He's telling all his sexual adventures to get to his mom. You know, like how he was with Robin and all these different girls. Every episode's a new woman.
I mean, not Ted. I mean... Yeah,
that's a tough one. So that's a bad one. I mean, for me, I would probably say Simpsons, another one. Like as soon as Ned Flanders' wife died, and they wouldn't because they didn't want to give her more money.
Okay, so I'm asking now. So because at the beginning you were talking about final episodes, finales. You're just talking about
just that progressively got worse. Yeah. Sitcoms that progressively have gotten worse towards the end of the season. So Arrested Development is another one where it got picked up by Netflix and just why are we still doing this?
That fourth season was rough. Yeah,
like the number 1 on the list was Roseanne, the show Roseanne. Speaking of, I was thinking about John Goodman yesterday actually because he's in every commercial in the 80s. If you ever look up like 80s commercial, he's in everything. He's in McDonald's and back-to-back Burger King. Like he has no shame of what he was a part of. But you know, the end of Roseanne is literally the husband's dead and it was a dream. Like that's cheap writing. So the article talks about just 6 different shows that have just fallen off a cliff and totally the writers totally phoned it in. And so I don't know if you guys have your own, but
I have one quick example in that I guarantee you, it's not a sitcom, but it's a very deep cut. Cameron, I know you like a lot of unscripted television. Have you seen a show, and I don't expect anyone to have seen this, but I went down a rabbit hole. It's called Instant Hotel. Has anyone seen this?
No.
I think it's still on Netflix. It's an Australian.
Oh, I have seen it. I know exactly what you're talking about.
So it's a competition where Airbnb owners.
I was wondering if it was the Australian Airbnb competition.
Yes, where the Australian Airbnb owners stay at each other's homes, and there's a competition to see which one has the best one, as voted on by the cast. The first season is very straightforward. That's the premise, right?
Yeah, it's innocent.
The second season, they go off the rails with the casting in the best possible ways. Like there is a guy on there. Cameron, did you watch both seasons of this show?
Of course I did. Yes.
Where Gene, the aging rock star from New Zealand, who I'm telling you, they just put the most bananas people in their homes. They're all trying figures out ways to sabotage these Airbnbs. Like I said, the first season is straight up just about Airbnbs, right? Like it is a show. If you're an Airbnb proprietor, very educational. It like manufactures insane drama into a reasonably conventional, kind of setup. I've never seen a show take that hard of a U-turn between seasons, and I loved it. It was a vast improvement. And there's still a couple episodes of season 2 of that show that I make reference to with Dana because it is that funny.
See, I feel like reality competition shows, I do think they have to change things up drastically because
it's been there, done that. Yeah.
But why do they have to get so tan? Like that to me is like the hard part. It's like, it's the show, but it's mostly their look.
Somebody gets a little bit of money and they go down into the dermatologist.
Almost like Glenn Powell.
Whoa.
Let me bring in Glenn Powell, right? I was watching him on Hitman, which I thought was one of the funny, really, really smart,
It
good
was
movie.
so good.
Good movie.
So good.
But then I see him on, I think he's on, I forgot what late late night show. I'm like, how is he better looking? What are they doing to these celebrities' faces that make them so thin and perfect? And I'm like, you know, like celebrities, they do it well, but then you watch reality TV, it's like the New Jersey, you're like, what happened? It's literally the RNC. It's at the end of it. You're seeing, it's just Matt Gaetz with the thin eyebrow looking like Beavis and Butthead, you know?
I think we're talking more about the writing of the show, not necessarily the appearance of the cast of the show, right?
But that's a piece of it. It's like the innocence goes away. It's almost like, do you guys remember when the Flavor of Love and stuff like that, like the first seasons were like innocent, like New York, they're kind of fighting. It's like, it's sweet. It's sweet fighting. Then you get to the end of it and it's like, this is dark. This gets really scary. Yeah. And it's just like, everyone has Botox. So everyone looks a little bit, they look like all my aunts and stuff. It's just crazy. And West
to your
Palm.
point, I think Selling Sunset, like I really enjoyed the first few seasons. I would say these most recent seasons, it feels like the women are just trying to like almost play characters of themselves at times. And I think that affects why it's kind of gone off the rails a little bit.
The other problem with reality like that is almost like when you hear about like House Hunters on HGTV and you find out that the whole thing is fake and that the couple has already bought one of the houses and they're literally faking that they're looking for other houses. And then they end up at the house they already bought. Right. And when you find that out, the whole show just isn't interesting anymore. Well, with Selling Sunset, you find out none of those women are real estate agents. They're all actresses that have been played because like people who were working at that brokerage, like for years talked about, I no longer work there. My NDA is up now. Okay. So these actresses were hired, you know, like the two brothers got the show greenlit. Then they wanted to upgrade the cast. And so all of us actual agents at the brokerage aren't on the show. They brought these women in. They got like these temporary real estate licenses. None of those deals are real. None of those houses are actually on the market. Those houses are already owned by somebody or by a developer or whatever. Like the whole thing is fake. It's just a fake drama show. And you're just going, well, now I'm not interested. You know what I mean? Like before,
I'm actually more interested now.
Oh, really? Now that you know it's totally fake?
Yeah.
But I don't have that illusion for any reality TV. I know this is a digression from Marty's original slide, but I don't operate that anything I'm watching on reality TV is
reality.
Yeah, is reality. I appreciate the ones who just amp it to 11 and just stop caring, you know.
Well, there's plenty to choose from.
Yeah.
All right. Actually, that would be a good question week. Like what sitcoms that you love fell off the most? Like, I'm even thinking like That 70s Show toward the end, like stayed on too long.
I do feel like
Suits.
The Office.
Suits,
I think The Office final episode wrapped it up really well, but post Michael leaving, it was rough.
When Robert California came on, or the when they went to like open up the Sabre store,
the Florida show,
was bad. That's unwatchable television.
I agree. I do agree. And as somebody who watches The Office almost every day of my life, which including last night I did, I agree that there's a hard stop after season 7.
Yeah.
But if you, in all of our heads, it is an unwatchable post Michael. If you actually jump in and watch a few, they're not as bad as we remember. They're not they were, but they aren't as bad as we all make them out to be.
I thought season 5 was bad when I first saw it. And I came back and I was like, oh, there's some funny stuff here. Yeah.
To me, the show changed when Pam got pregnant. That was it. There's your line in the sand.
For sure.
There's 3 shows. There's the up to Pam getting pregnant, Pam, but until Michael leaves, and then after Michael leaves. It's 3 shows. And if you compare them, the first 5 are the best. But, you know.
I think, because I've thought about this recently too, because I love The Office as well. I think it was funniest when it was Michael and Dwight, and then everyone else was a variation of a straight man. Like they would get their laughs, but those were actual people. Anyone in that office was someone that you could interact with in day-to-day life.
Yeah.
When they started inserting the Gabes, and I can't remember the woman with red hair, and the Robert California, when everyone became some sort of lunatic, it was like, all right, this is a cartoon now. This isn't a send-up of the mundanity of office life.
I think that started with Andy. Like,
I do too. I think that's I think Andy was the
first one. Andy was a tough character for me to learn how to like, which I sometimes I still don't really like him.
Original one was
a show
tough,
that
too.
did that the same thing back in the 90s was News Radio. It was fantastic,
Okay.
and everything
That was
centered around
actually on the list of worst endings.
everything that
Believe it or
centered
not.
around Phil Hartman, and then he was
that's why.
murdered, and they replaced him with John Lovitz. And the problem was Phil Hartman was this straight-faced, hilarious,
Likeable.
anchor. He was an anchor, though, and John Lovitz is a lunatic, and it was just everything lost its bearing after that. You know what I mean? So, anyway, all right. Well, that'll do it for Slices. Stay tuned. Up next, Colony House joins us. You're listening to the Linda Lindas. The song is All in My Head. Well, today's show is brought to you in part by American Prophet. In this new novel, Peter begins to have dreams of major events just before they happen. As his dreams come true, he attracts followers as well as skeptics. Conspiracy theories and violent threats force Peter to the open road, driving him deep into the heart of a divided nation. American Prophet by Jeff Fulmer is on sale now at Amazon, Audible, and iTunes. Go check out American Prophet by Jeff Fulmer today. Our guest today is Caleb Chapman from Colony House. They're an indie rock band based in Nashville, and they just released this week the deluxe edition of their debut album, When We Were Younger. It actually came out yesterday, which is the exact 10-year anniversary of the album's release. Kind of cool. It's not a Friday release. It was a Monday release. We actually have a conversation with them in the new digital issue of Relevant, number 115, which you may have seen on the site. But on the show today, we wanted to bring you part of that conversation that wasn't in the article. Here's a little bit of our conversation with Caleb talking about the band's legacy and their future. Here is Colony House.
So it's been 10 years since you released Colony House's debut album, When We Were Younger. How do you feel like the music industry has changed during this time?
I'll preface it with it's easy to get frustrated by all the different things that are quote unquote required of you. I think it's important to remember nothing is required of us. I don't have to post anything on the internet. I'm the one that's doing it. So if there's any frustration, I think it's because it feels like you have to keep up. But I don't know if that's true. Maybe I'm just too scared to try the alternative. But, when we put out our first album 10 years ago this year, and Spotify wasn't a thing. I mean, we were, if you wanted to hear Silhouettes, our first song, before it came out, you got a 30-second preview on iTunes. And then if you wanted to listen to the song, you had to buy it for 99 cents. And so that was different. I think at that point, Instagram and Twitter maybe were a thing at that point, but it was so different. Like the people you followed, you actually saw their posts. And if they followed you, they actually saw your posts. I remember when Facebook changed that to where it was like, wait a sec. I have spent all this time trying to get people to even pay attention, but you're telling me now I have to pay if I want them all to listen to me. I'll get a little bit of them, but without meandering too much. There's more, and I say this as a bit of a celebration for the artist. There's more ways to get heard or seen than ever. And that's wonderful, especially for kids who might not know whose hand to shake, or what meeting to try to take, and they have access to billions of people just through uploading a video. I think there is something really awesome about that. I think it has definitely made for a distracted listener and a distracted viewer. I think there's a reason why you scroll through Netflix or you doom scroll through anything and you're just like, you end up not watching anything or not committing to anything because you just get like you're kind of just like eating goldfish the whole time, like goldfish crackers. It's like you're like waiting for dinner, and then by the time dinner comes, you're like, I'm good. I had like 1,000 little snacks. Maybe that's kind of the frustrating part. And I always find myself in this juxtaposition of like, oh, I hate it. It's bad for our spirits. It's bad for my, I don't have to parent this yet, but one day I'm going to have to parent kids who want to get on social media. I'm on social media. Am I going to tell them, no, it's not good for you? But hold on, you got to put your money where your mouth is. It's just always this weird dance that we have to do of kind of like, hating it, but also being grateful that I have an opportunity to send my stuff out into the world and people can hear it. And I don't know. I'm on a tangent now, but I do think it felt more simple in a way 10 years ago when it was like, make a music video. You can make it we always made our stuff ourselves. It's like, that's kind of what we got. Put it out there. Hopefully the song connects. And then I know there was a lot more going on, but that's kind of what it felt like. And now I have emails and emails of, marketing plans, social media schedules. And you're like, dang, it's easy to lose the joy. It's easy to lose the joy and forget, like, wait a sec, I get to make music for a living.
Well, I love that you're celebrating this anniversary with a brand new deluxe version. I feel like there was a lot of ways you could have celebrated this. So why re-record the album?
Okay, so, we talked about this for a long time because we're like, all right, it's a 10-year anniversary. It's not 20, it's not 25, it's not 50. And we don't want to make ourselves older than we are, like feel older than we are by like celebrating the times gone by. But so we were careful. We were trying to be careful about like, well, do we do a whole tour? Do we whatever? And, we feel like, man, Colony House has a lot left to say. I feel that way. I feel like we have a lot of new things we want to say. And I don't want to spend too much time on the old things we have said. Now, with that, When I Was Younger is no doubt a very special album to us, and it has remained a special album to our fans, the people that were there since then. And that's undeniable. I really do think that if, there's a time as an artist where you're offended a little bit by your own work. I think people are like, oh, I wish you never would have, we got comments as soon as we posted. You get comments that are supposed to be complimentary, but they sting a little bit. But it's like, oh man, this album is so good. This was the soundtrack to my high school. I wish y'all would have never changed your sound or whatever. I wish you would have stuck to this. And on one hand, I'm like, dang, you don't receive that initially as a compliment, but it's like, oh, we gave you a gift in that season. However, something that I've kind of uncovered while recording some of these new versions, finishing up some B-sides that never got finished, listening back through these songs that I haven't maybe listened to in a while. I have recognized that, yes, there's something beautiful about this album that we haven't done since then. And I hope I never have to do ever again. And that's the thing that is hard for people to understand, because we don't talk about it much, but like this album, it was born out of a really heavy time in me and my brother's life. It was we wrote it right after we lost my little sister. And that was 16 years ago now, but we started writing these songs from that. And this being our first album, it's this collection of years and years that you only get that debut album once, where it's not just that quick turnaround trying to keep momentum going. And, you're given 2 years or whatever to observe what's happening around you. And then put that into your best 12 songs. Your first album, you get, for us, it was 20 years of whatever our life was. And then we, and so, we'll show friends songs. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you wrote that when you were whatever, 20 years old. And can you believe, I wish that I had something like that to, show, and that's really sweet. And I feel that way sometimes, being like, dang, younger me had something going on. He thought better than old me thinks. But those are songs that will always be very special. And like I said, I hope I never have to write other songs like that. And maybe that means our career doesn't continue to, blast off. But I think it's important to understand, like, things, artists, people, we all change. We all are evolving. And for an artist, that's our sound. That's the things we're thinking. That's the life that is happening around us that we're observing. And so really, this has been like watching home videos. Like, you go back and something you maybe a photo of yourself when you were a kid, you were kind of cringed at. Now we're smiling at it and being like, dang, I love that. I love that naive thing that I said, because I'd never do that now, because I'm too aware of what people might say about it or whatever. So it's just been a really, really wonderful process, going back and falling in love with something I'm just really proud of, still to this day. Like, I'm proud of everything we've done, but that there is something special about it, I think.
I am curious, were there any songs that kind of hit different this time around when you re-recorded them?
I think Lose Control, which is the last song, it's the last song on the album. It's the first song that we put out for this deluxe thing. We 4 of the tracks we redone with the original producer, and it was this like orchestral version of the song, and it's beautiful. And Ben Shive orchestrated it, and it's one of those that, we've always been fans of cinematic. Our music has been kind of cinematic, maybe. But we love over sensationalizing stuff and just bringing it home and just making you feel stuff. So to hear it in its like most glorified form felt like, whoa, this is the song at its full potential. Like, this is literally pulling on the heartstrings. And it just felt like it put that song, I don't know, that's one of those that I can't really listen to around people, because it wrecks me still. It just is a really, really honest song about what, 21-year-old, however old I was at the time, Caleb was feeling. So it's a tough listen for all the best reasons, a shoulder shaking cry kind of thing. But and I think too, like, sometimes when lyrics hit after 10 years of like, dang man, that's still true, I'm still trying to figure that out. That's also something that just like, that's what makes music kind of addicting to write and record, where you're like, you go back 10 years and something still resonates. It wasn't a trend we were trying to catch, or we weren't trying to write the next TikTok song, that's for sure. And it was just purely friends and collaborators trying to communicate a position that they have on life. That's it. That was it.
To the things that held me down, to the fear that kept my hands tied. When I'm gone, my heart will carry on, past the valleys I called my own, where my questions and concerns will
That was Colony House. Make sure to check out their deluxe edition of their debut album, When We Were Younger, which came out yesterday. And don't miss our full feature with them in issue 115 of Relevant. It's available now. Just click the magazine tab at relevantmagazine.com. You can read it for free. You can get the beautiful enhanced edition as part of Relevant Plus. All right, stay tuned. Up next, it's Summer Mythbusters.
Cutting corners, no folding, no cheating. I'm talking discipline or we ain't eating. I'm feeling hunger like it was day one. You are not gangster but trying to play one. Only breeding out losers, I'm trying to save them from the wrath of computers and AI. Stay calm, not to mention the beast and the Lego stay on. Angel time is the time that we on replay on. Color visuals I can make with no crayon. That's the fabric right here, bro, this ain't no rayon. I grew up and realized that you get what you put in. Pitching like good and still do what they said that I couldn't. Cause I can take words that appear in my head, jot them down and convert them to music. I do this. Fresh out the Garden of Eden.
You're listening to Fern. The song is You Know Who.
Shout out to Fern, man. This first single as a solo artist apart. We're like Wu-Tang. Any people understand that. It's like Wu-Tang. It's like, you know, you could do everything, but also we come together as one, you know.
Are you too competitive that, like, when you drop your solo stuff, you want it to be better than his solo stuff? Or are you genuinely rooting each other on?
Well, I distribute and I market all his stuff. So
you want him to win.
I want him. I have to have him win.
So
Yeah.
what you say? Yeah, so what you're saying is you sabotage his releases.
Actually,
No, he makes money if they do well.
Yeah. Like
Who's stranded in South Dakota right now and who's not? Let's look at that.
I helped A&R. I hired a producer to A&R and work his stuff, and I'm proud of him. He literally mainstream loves him. Like, it's funny. We always get rejected in the Christian sphere. I don't know what it is about Apple and Spotify where sometimes they just, you know, Spotify always gives support, but sometimes Apple with Christian, it's like there, it's not there. But mainstream showed up and they loved it and they put them on some really big playlists. So shout out to Apple Christian and Apple Mainstream.
Well, today's show is brought to you in part by World Vision. We all subscribe to a lot of services that make our lives easier and more entertaining. But as followers of Jesus, we should want to seek first the kingdom of God in all areas of life, including our spending. That's why I'm so excited about a new kind of subscription through World Vision. Not one for myself, but for others. It's called Believers for World Change. And when you sign up, you're joining a community of change makers working to help end extreme poverty around the world and here at home. World Vision is a Christian humanitarian organization that works with children, families, and communities to reach their God-given potential, focusing on things like gender equality, spiritual nurture, and access to clean water, education, job training, and healthcare, so the entire picture of poverty can be addressed. Let's subscribe to something new together. Subscribe to World Change today at worldvision.org. Again, that's worldvision.org. All right, it is time for Summer Mythbusters.
It's time for Summer Mythbusters.
Here's the rules. You guys are going to present absurd or exaggerated summer myths. And then the other two of you have to determine if the myth is plausible or completely bogus. Points are awarded for correctly guessing or convincingly bluffing. So each time... if it's a split jury, I don't know that there's any points awarded. But if you both are convinced of a certain answer, you know, we'll do points that way. We'll see how it goes. All right. Kind of makes sense.
Maybe it has to be unanimous.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. It has to be unanimous. If it's a hung jury, then there's no points awarded. All right. Here we go. Round one. Emily, you're up first. Take it away. What's your myth?
All right. First myth I want to start with. You can fry an egg on the sidewalk on a hot day. Do we think that's true or false?
I've done it before.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain that's true. I don't know that you should eat it, but I think you can fry it.
No, you don't want to eat it. I did it on my car, too. It's a real thing. On the hood.
I should have picked a bigger one. That one is true to an extent, though. Okay. So the sidewalk has to be hot enough, which is about 158 degrees Fahrenheit. Which that's pretty hot. So
Arizona.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That's literally
the only
11
place.
p.m. in Arizona. Yeah. All right. Okay. So on that one, Jesse and Marty got a point. There you go. All right, Jesse, you're up. What's your
All right. You should never swim during a rainstorm.
That's a fact. You should never do that. Never. You get electrocuted. It's Florida logic.
Hold on. Clarify terms here. Rainstorm is different than thunderstorm.
You should never swim during a rainstorm.
Yeah, you could swim. You'll be fine.
I feel like rainstorm's fine to swim. I mean, if it's just a rainstorm.
If it's thunder, you have to worry. But if a rainstorm...
Let me think about what happened in Twisters. I think they swam in a rainstorm.
I got a screen enclosure. We'll be fine, guys.
Well, Cameron, you really tipped the scales on that one because it's false. The answer is it's swimming during a thunderstorm that's dangerous due to lightning. Now listen,
you tried to trick us.
As a
Media literacy, man, terms matter. You know,
as a former pool lifeguard at a substantial apartment complex.
Jesse, you have lived several million lives.
I know.
It's crazy.
There was one reason you could there was two reasons you could shut down the pool for the whole afternoon and go home. One was thunder, and it's any thunder. I'm telling you, it could be perfectly sunny, and it could be thunder or the sound of a moving truck, or a U-Haul door going down, and you tell everyone, I'm pretty sure it was thunder. There's no way to know. Shut it down, going home, okay? Yeah. Did that a lot. Okay, I mean, sun shower, thunder. Guys, I heard something. It could have been a truck backing up. We don't know, but the rules are the rules. The other one
wasn't the rule 2 times. You had to hear it twice.
No,
or
just
was
once.
That different for you?
No, just once. And I would the residents would evacuate, and I would go home and enjoy my early off. Yeah, there's only one other scenario we shut down the pool, and everyone knows
it's a baby Ruth in the pool.
That's a defecation.
Yeah,
that's
a little Caddyshack action going on there.
Ruth.
It's a Caddyshack thing. That's a Caddyshack from the movie.
We got a defecation. Shut it down. Pull the plug. Everyone out as quickly as possible. It's more dangerous than lightning. Like, people would flee the pool quicker.
Yeah.
In that case.
I would, honestly.
It only happened once. So, only happened once.
All right, Marty, you're up. What's your myth?
Hey, guys,
Here's a good one.
You're supposed to super shock it. It's a regular shock. I can't afford that shock. I had to answer for shock.
All right, here's my myth.
Dirty secrets of the industry, guys. You don't want to know. Go ahead. Sorry.
That wasn't a Baby Ruth. All right. Myth, ice cold drinks will help you cool down faster.
False.
I don't ice cold drinks will help you cool down faster in the summer.
The faster parts was throwing me off because I don't know if it's faster or if it's like the same amount. I'll go false though.
Yeah, it's while refreshing, ice cold drinks can actually cause your body to work harder because you have to warm the liquid inside of you, so it's actually not good for you. Cold
so I gotta
drinks.
drink hot water.
Lukewarm, they say, unfortunately.
Lukewarm. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys have been all right. This is the end of the first round. Everybody has 2 points. So somebody throw somebody off on the next one. Here we go.
I tried.
I'm sorry. Hey, notice after you corrected me, I didn't say a word to Marty's.
But afterwards, Cam was like this.
I had some thoughts. Anyway. All right, Emily, you're up. Here we go. What's your round 2?
Okay. A quick swim in the ocean can cure a cold.
What?
A quick swim in the ocean can cure a
I
cold.
think it's referring to the saltwater clearing out your sinuses sort of thing.
I will say this. That has happened to me numerous times. I don't know if this is going to say true or false, but anecdotally, for me, true.
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say I think it helps your skin, but I don't know if it can help if you have like a cough.
Think about like the olden times, people would like go out to the sea to like when they were feeling ill.
He already made his answer.
All right. Well, the correct answer is that it is false. While salt water can have some healing properties for wounds, it doesn't cure colds.
That's right. That's right.
So I think, Jesse, yours was just like a mental game.
Yeah.
No, I'm with Jesse. As a Floridian, as a regular beachgoer, there is something deeply healing about salt water getting shoved up your nose. I'm sorry.
It's agreed.
Yeah.
I don't
Jesse, you're
trust the source. Okay. By the way, I've said this before on this pod. I don't want to brag, but it's still proud of it. Pool of the pay period twice that summer. Twice. Okay. There's like 100 pools.
Baby Ruth free. That was on it. Like
that wasn't true.
Whole
but
you had a big sign on the side of the pool. X number of days since last defecation incident, and you had a full 30.
In case you're wondering, Subway gift card, baby. 2. I went ahead and heard thunder that day and headed on over for early dismissal meatball celebratory. Okay.
I love that you remember that you told the story of when you were living in Orlando and the Magic had the Subway sub of the game after every game, and some Orlando Magic bench player would be the sub of the game, and it was always like a radio thing for the radio broadcast. They would announce it, or the TV, and apparently you found out by seeing it firsthand that the sub of the game got an actual Subway gift card because you ran into Bo Outlaw in a Subway cashing
using special coupons. Yeah, it was cool. I was like, congrats on Subway.
That's hilarious to me that like these guys are making millions of dollars, but here's your $5 footlong coupon.
Well, the Subway was right next to the practice facility too.
Yeah, I remember. Oh man,
he was using that next day, man. All right. Mowing
He's
the lawn.
Going real hard for that extra rebound because he wants to get a free sandwich tomorrow.
Yeah, they put it up on the Jumbotron and everything. All right. Mowing the lawn in the morning can prevent allergies.
Prevent allergies? Why are they saying? Because the dew maybe tamps down the pollen?
I don't know, because I don't know anything about pollen, and as a girl, I've never really mowed a lawn.
I'll be honest with you.
Just a girl.
When are you the most sneezy? To me, it's the morning. All right, I'm going to stop commentating.
Okay, that is a good point, Cameron. Okay, so I'll go false.
I'll go false, too.
You're right. False. Pollen counts are usually higher in the morning.
Sorry.
Cameron is out to
Sorry,
ruin
I'm out. I'm muting my mic. Sorry.
You're like the judge of my cousin Vinny. You're like the judge of my cousin Vinny when he's like, show the record, he's got 3 fingers. It's like, judge, please.
I got a good myth that I think no one will get. Well, I don't know.
All right, Marty, you're up. Here we go.
All right, here we go.
Gonna be debated.
Here's a one. Hopefully no one gets this one. Eating spicy food will make you hotter in the summer.
False.
Oh, I thought that was true. I mean, I feel like no matter what time of the year, if I eat spicy food, I feel warm.
You're sweating afterwards. I literally just watched. I binged hot ones last night for some reason.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go true.
All right, so spicy food can induce sweating, which actually cools your body down.
Yep, exactly.
Ugh, science, so annoying.
Exactly. A little twister there.
All right.
I read that about hot beverages as well. If you drink like hot cocoa and coffee in the summer, it actually cools you down because the hot beverage makes your body counteract the hotness with sweating and different things, and that actually cools your body down. Same
I don't know if that's true.
I just saying
I want to drink ice water. I'm sorry, guys. I just I can't do the Europe thing.
Okay, at the end of round 2, because I messed up Jesse again, I'm sorry. Jesse's in last place with 2. Emily and Marty have 3. Okay, and this time, no commentary on Jesse's from my.
Is this one worth 4? Like all the marbles here?
Okay, this is the 3rd round. We have 10 rounds in front of you, but I know we're running out of time. I was thinking we'd do 2 more rounds. Okay. So this is a regular round, and then we'll have a bonus round.
I'm trying to. Okay.
You're pacing yourself. All right, Emily, here we go. Oh, you're going to sandbag.
Yes.
You're one for the multi-point one.
Yeah, he's
I got you
right now.
Save it for the next round. All right, Emily, you're up.
Okay. Having a tan protects you from getting sunburned.
No, you can still get.
It's
a myth. That's a myth. False. For sure. I've got burnt while being tan.
A healthy base layer.
Yeah, sadly, y'all are correct. This is false. You can still get a sunburn from being tan. But I kind of anecdotally, I disagree with this because I always put on fake tan before I go out for the first day in the summer. So that way, I think it lessens the sunburn. Again, don't tell me the science behind that. I don't want to hear it.
It's a saltwater situation. I get it.
Yes. If y'all can go get healed by saltwater, a fake,
Have you never been to the Dead Sea? People literally get healed from saltwater.
Okay, so no, I haven't been to the Dead Sea personally. It's on the bucket list, but I'll just make sure I have my fake tan on.
Great floating situation.
All right, who's up? Marty? Is it me or Marty?
It's you. Go.
So
good.
Cameron.
Here he goes. He's going hard right now.
Mosquitoes are repelled by garlic.
Garlic.
Mosquitoes are repelled. I feel like that's true.
Do I have to rub garlic on me?
Probably eat it and it's coming through your pores, kind of a thing. Like through your sweat and stuff like that. Maybe.
Okay, the science on this. I need a scientist on this podcast so badly. I'm going to go false.
I'm going to say false, too. They can't because I smell like garlic all the time. I'm Italian. It
You're
just
right.
doesn't. I get bit all the time.
No scientific evidence. Yeah.
No, okay. So false is they were both right.
That's right.
All right.
If that one was true, that was going to blow my mind.
Hey, I got a childhood one here. Here we go. A childhood myth. All right. You need to wait an hour after eating to swim. Is that true or false?
I know that's false because I don't think I ever waited more than 5 minutes.
It's false. It's 2 hours.
It's
Hard 2 hours.
It just says while maybe uncomfortable swim on a full stomach, there's no risk involved.
People die from stomach cramps every summer.
But you know how many parents have, told their kids, hey, listen, you can't jump in. You just
They just want an Adult Swim situation. That's it.
Yeah,
That's
it. That's it.
All right, how about this one?
Okay, end of 3 rounds. Emily has 5, Marty has 5, Jesse has 4. These are all round 3. These are worth 3 points each. Here you go, Emily, you're up.
Okay. If you want to naturally lighten your hair in the sun, you can put lemon juice in it.
Sounds true.
I feel like that sounds true. I'm going to say that sounds very true.
Yeah.
It unfortunately is true. I feel like if you do it, you probably will get like frosted tips because I can't imagine it's like a
I
thorough...
can tell you, as a middle schooler who lived in Florida with brown hair, I can tell you what happens when you put lemon juice in your hair trying to be cool like the surf dudes. It turns your brown hair slightly orange. Just FYI. Just a little lighter.
Very cool.
It does lighten it, but it does not go
But not in
platinum
like a
tips.
cool way.
No, it looks like you're a sad 6th grader trying to be cool, but you're not. Yeah.
It looks like you put lemon juice in your hair. Got
Correct.
it.
Yeah, you found it in the fridge and didn't tell your parents. Yeah. All right, Jesse.
If you get a jellyfish sting, urinating on it will relieve the pain. True or false?
I mean,
I think that's false. That's false.
I think it's
I mean,
true
according
because
to
I've seen it.
Friends, but-
I was going to say, Friends, they did it, and I don't think Friends would lie to me. So I'm
Wait,
going
you
to
guys,
say it's true.
you guys need to get a consensus here because you're
I'm going to say
split
false.
jury.
She's saying
No,
true.
okay.
Talk each
Marty,
other into it because
Marty,
you're negating Jesse's opportunity to get points one way or the other.
Got
okay.
it.
I think it's true because it's just been shared so many times, and I
It
feel
has,
like
yes. And I have
feel
peed on my
like
sister before because she got stung
Oh,
on her foot. Yeah, I did. It was a
well.
weird angle. It was a whole thing. I had to be 12.
That degrading experience
Was worthless.
because it actually makes it worse. Rinsing with vinegar is better.
100% my parents' beach house. I peed on myself. 12 years old.
Jesse, you just got 3 points, man.
Good for you, man.
Boom. Boom. I
You
knew
finally
that
got
one.
one.
I knew that one would get you.
All right, Marty, you, if you get this, if you've convinced them, to be wrong,
Okay.
you will win. If not,
Okay.
Jesse actually just won. So here we go.
Okay.
It's all down to this.
All right. Let me go through. Okay, here's a good one. Here's the myth. Man, I have like a list of 20 and they're all really good, but I just want to win. So this is a hard one. Here's one of the first ones I had. Here we go. You can't get sunburn if it's cloudy.
That's a hard false.
that's false. From personal experience, I believe that is false.
Yeah.
You can get sunburn.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's 100%. The UVs go through, they penetrate the clouds, and you can even get it on an overcast hotter, which I learned living in California, that the overcast will get you
Hard
even
lesson to
burned.
learn. Hard
Marty,
lesson to
you
learn.
should have, if you were trying to win, you shouldn't have given a question that 2 pale people could answer correctly.
Well, I mean, this guy lives in Beach City. You live in Nashville. Everyone's
I'm
tan
so
in
white.
Nashville. Everyone has a tanning bed.
All right. Well,
They
there
go
you
to
go.
the WME
Jesse,
offices to get
Jesse,
tan.
you won. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's a big honor.
Congratulations.
Big honor. All this that summer. by
You
the
put this
pool
on your
really
award with your
educated me.
2-time Pool of the Month
Full pay
award.
period. That's right.
Full
So,
pay period.
And your
not quite a
laminated
month.
Subway
Not quite
card.
a month, but close.
Full
We
of
came
the
out every
pay
2
period.
weeks. Yeah. So,
All grows up.
Was it the PPP award, the Pool of the Pay period? Like,
Oh, yeah.
what did they put on the certificate?
yeah, it's PPP, and ironically, it was AAA pool company, so a lot of letters on there. But it was
Like
big
they had
deal.
those keys were just stuck on their typewriter, and they just
Yeah.
ran with it.
Yeah, that's why they called it that, because they had a lot of pieces of paper that just said PPP on it, so they made it up. But accepted, honor.
All right. Well, that'll do it for.
It's time for summer myth buzzes.
Well, before we wrap things up, I want to thank Caleb Chapman from Colony House for joining us today. Like I said, their deluxe edition, expanded edition of their debut album, When We Were Younger, released just yesterday. Go check that out. And don't miss our feature with them in issue 115 of Relevant. Click the magazine tab. You can read it for free at relevantmagazine.com or sign up for Relevant Plus and get our beautifully designed, enhanced magazine experience. All right, on that note, we'll wrap it. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Jesse Carey.
I'm Emily Brown.
I'm Marty.
We'll see you on Friday. Have a great week, everyone.
Thanks for listening to the Relevant Podcast. Check out our features, interviews, and news updates every day at relevantmagazine.com. And make sure to follow Relevant on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest. For more great podcasts, browse the shows on the Relevant Podcast Network, which you can find at our site. And while you're there, don't miss the all-new era of Relevant Magazine. A new issue releases every other month at relevantmagazine.com.
And mind you, this is a film about child neglect.
Relevant Podcast Network.